this part of the professional development, we're going to go ahead and discuss how we can go on to the Daily 5 to get the information we needed. Remember earlier today, we sat down and we discussed as a group about how we're doing on our CFAs, our formative assessments, and we noticed that our kids were struggling with the elements of a story, which is under the comprehension part of the Daily 5. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about that as a group and how that we can better help our kids by being more active. Sorry about that. Being more active with the online sources that we have. Now remember, this is just a tool. We know our kids. We collaborate. We go ahead and we look at those highly leveraged standards that we're teaching, and we're seeing how we can fit that into the structure of the Daily 5. So I went onto the website. You've all been here. You've all got access to the website with the passwords. If you're having trouble with that, I can help you with that a little bit later. But I just wanted you to look on this page right here. It's the Cafe, dailycafe.com. And right now we're going to be looking at how we can use the interactive cafe menu to help us. So I'm going to go ahead and click into that. Just give me a minute. Oh, there we go. When I click on the Daily Cafe board, I get many different things that we can pick up. We have our comprehension, our accuracy, our fluency, and our expanded vocabulary. We also gave this earlier to you, it was the beginning of this year. We gave it to you in a folder as well. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that right now we're under RC for comprehensive, and we can go ahead, we can go ahead and go down. And we can select the one that matches what we're having issues with. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look. To me, when we're teaching that highly leveraged standard, it's important for us to realize that it takes all of these together to really help our brain to be able to comprehend and to get the information it needs. So I'm looking down here and I see that we have asked questions throughout our reading process. I see we have using main ideas to support the details, determining what the text was. I'm going to go ahead and go down a little further. Oops. I actually clicked on that one. So I'm going to go back because that's not the one I wanted. And see how far. Okay, so here I have recognizing literacy elements, and that's talking about the character plot, the setting. Let's see what happens if I go ahead and click on that one. We get the idea. It comes up in big, and then there are lots of supporting features that are on here to be able to help us, including a parent pipeline. This is going to be very important because as we learn at school, then you can also plug into the parents, and I see a Spanish one up there as well. This is just resources to help us become better teachers. I can bookmarks. That bookmark's going to actually have what their goal is in reading, and giving them some, while we're reading, this is what I'm doing. Here is assessing the strategy. So I know we do the CFAs on our big one, but this is just another tool that can be used to see how their progress is doing. So all of these are just one little bit of our comprehension piece that helps us with the Daily 5. I'm going to go back. And I am going to, I'm used to my touch screen, you can tell. Don't laugh. I'm going to go back, and I am going to just pick another one so we can see making mental images to making a picture in our head when we're doing it, when we're reading. And there again, I see that this is just loaded with information that can help us. As we are going through this, feel free to go ahead and log into one of these and take a look. I'm going to go ahead and do the download this, see what this one looks like, just give you an idea, see if one of you didn't bring your computer. And it's a mini lesson, it's a definition, what the child needs for strategies, secrets for their success, and how we could teach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and make sure that each of you can go ahead and get into your login. And then from there we're gonna go ahead and go all the way back first, because I do want to go ahead and get the one that we're working on this week. And I will go ahead and pull it up. And so I want you just to go ahead and get to this page. To make sure everybody has an opportunity to see what it looks like. And then we're going to discuss how we can fit it into our daily reading. Okay, I see that we all got to this website right here. Good job. And we went and we searched the download here for the reference. I also wanted to show you this assessing piece as well. So we just go down and we hit the button for the download. It gives us a whole nother branch of information, and it says what the goal is, the strategy. It ties it into the Common Core alignment. I really like this piece right here, because what it did is it hit the first grade, and second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade. So it kind of shows you how they should be growing along with that. Then it gave us the text that could possibly be used, and these are mostly, I'm looking at them, and they all look like they're books that would be great for second grade. It does have one book. It doesn't look like it's highlighted right here. That that one too. It's by my favorite author. So there's a couple of them here. But they're all picture books. So even up in the 5th and 6th grade, picture books are very handy to use. It gives instructions, and then right here we actually, all of that's green, it can be accessed again. So if I go here and I say click, clack, moo, that types, it goes right to that website. So, and then it has all of the information that you would want to use for that, and on. So that's very helpful, especially if you just want a quick assessment. Then it goes on from there, and it has the reading reference guide right there, and then more downloads. It kind of all builds on each other. And then on the very bottom right here, it even has a story map, which is not highlighting, but and then the conferencing. And the conferencing is our key. We've talked about this in the past, and we are meeting the way that this structure is done. We have those times where we meet whole group, and then they go out and do independent work. While they're doing that independent work is while you're conferencing. And that key right there is what makes this so powerful, because you can actually do your evaluation of how the student is going to meet their goals, to meet that highly leveraged standard during the conferencing. And these are kind of some clues that you can ask, or things that you can ask the student as they're reading their book, as you're conferencing with them. And it even has a rubric of what is exceeding and what is meeting, approaching, and below. So it really gives you the foundation that you need to put everything in order to really help your students grow. Okay, this site could go, we could spend hours on it. So what I'm encouraging you to do is go ahead and look at it in your own classroom. Look at the standards that you're going to be teaching next week and kind of plug in and see what is there and how that you could best utilize that in your classroom, and go from there. Remember that at least that here at our school that we are teaching to the standard. We're teaching for that highly leveraged understanding, and then we're supporting it with our supporting standards, and we are using all the curriculum that we can. We pull from this and that and the other. So if you have any questions or you need any help, just don't hesitate to get in touch with me. This video.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just want to thank my lovely assistant for videotaping for me during this. I know it's a little awkward for y'all. I went around, I looked, and I seen that you guys all had it up, and we spent a little bit of time in reading through it and talking about how it's going to fit into your lesson and how we can better teach the weekly, or I should say the highly leveraged standard that we're working on. And so I think that those ideas are going to become very, very strong in your classroom. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and I picked somebody that has volunteered so nicely to let me come in and model the lesson for them. So we're going to be going ahead and doing that as well. And then we will get back and talk about that. Thank you. So part of what we're doing today is we're going to go ahead and we're setting up a time. I think we decided on tomorrow where I'm going to come in and do a model lesson of the Daily 5 using that structure, and we're going to be doing a model lesson of how we can fit it in and hit the highly leveraged standard as we are teaching. I'm just making sure that we're okay, where you're going to come in with me and you're going to take notes, and then after we get done modeling the Daily 5 during the time, then we'll come back together and we'll just talk about what we seen and what we didn't.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any questions on that?
No, I'm just going to watch you.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay, well, thanks for coming and meeting with me again today. And I just wanted to go over, so we had the PLC and we talked about the data and we talked about how we can better help our kids. And we looked at where we felt we really needed to look more closely at the Daily 5 and the structure and how that's helping us deliver what the kids need. And then yesterday we went over and we actually dug into that Daily 5 and we looked at the websites and we looked at how that we talked about how that would look in our classroom. And now we took it a step further, and today I modeled the Daily 5 routine with you, and we looked at some of the lessons that were provided by the Daily 5, and we looked at how we can use the comprehension piece and how that comprehension piece fits in with our highly leveraged standard. So we modeled the lesson. We talked about all the things that in the lesson with the kids that went along with the Daily 5 and the highly leveraged. And we got out the book and we hardcore book, the Wilson Sat Alone, and we talked about the character in the book. And I'm just wondering, what did you see within the lesson that you thought was something that you could apply to your own teaching? When you looked at the lesson, we sat down on the carpet, we were reading, and then we talked about how the character changed within the story. Was there anything particular that you seen in that lesson that you thought would go really smoothly with your classroom on a regular basis?
Yes, the pausing in between the pages and talking about the character and his expressions, how the picture gives you hints of the inference and doing predictions and yes.
Okay. So I thought that went really well too. I also want to point out that even the structure of where we sit, which is actually, if you look at the Daily 5, they do have recommendations for bringing the kids to the carpet and things like that. So when we read that, I made the choice to bring them to the carpet. Do you think that had a positive effect on the kids' behavior? How do you think that would that kind of structure would work for you?
Definitely, you have more engaged when they're closer up to you and on the carpet.
Okay. And if I looked at the lesson, I could see 1 or 2 areas of improvement. What would you think that we could do that would be a little bit different? Now, I know that you have a challenging class, and there are lots of behavior issues going on. What do you think we could have done a little bit differently that would have engaged them a little bit more?
Possibly more brain breaks, just to keep in mind that they can only sit there for 15 minutes tops.
Okay, yeah, definitely. That would be definitely, which is where the Daily 5 kind of comes into play as well. Because remember, we are supposed to be breaking that apart very, very, so that actually could work. Also, one way that you can do a brain break without moving the kids as much is just do more buddy buzzing too.
That's true.
When we were doing our lesson, I probably could have stopped a little more often and done some buddy buzzing, and that would have engaged him. I think the challenge with this bunch of kids you have on that is being very, very on them as far as what your expectations are when you buddy buzz, because I noticed that those 2 right over on the left hand corner over there, they had trouble with the buddy buzzing as far as knowing what to say and also just staying on task. So I think those are challenges. Now, when we moved in the Daily 5 from the whole group to the small group, I noticed that some of it went really well, but I'm thinking of a couple areas that really that maybe I needed to give more direction to. So bear that in mind too, that we learn as we go, and I think that you're going to have times where you're going to make mistakes and things, so just be aware of that. And then when we move them from the floor to doing their self-choice, and they picked what they wanted, I think we could work on the noise level.
Yes.
Because it got very loud, and it didn't last for very long, but that transition, we don't want to be wasting any time with that transition. It should be really quickly. There are some strategies for that online as well on the Daily 5, like the idea of using a tone or playing a song while they're moving, something like that would just be quick for them. So that's one area I can see that we can need improved. So this next couple weeks, I'm going to be coming into your class. I'm going to be watching you, and I'm going to be whisper coaching to you. And so just be aware that I'm there to support you and anything I can do. So I think of us as a team, and just like I could see that I needed improvements in areas, I think that there's always room to grow. So do you have any questions or anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you know that as you're going on to the Daily 5 website and you're exploring that more, if you get stuck or you can't find something, that just text me and I can come help. Okay, thanks.